So if you start to say, well, everyone who believes is saved, well, where do you draw the line then? Do the sacraments matter at all? Or is it just faith? Faith in what? What's the doctrine? Who says? What are the tenets? What's Apocrypha? What's the actual canon? I mean, if there's no authority, then you have every person becomes their own church. Every person becomes their own. You want to talk about an alternative gospel? Everybody's got a problem with the Catholic Church. Nobody could tell me, in the absence of authority, who will preserve the tradition, who will preserve the dogma, who will preserve and administer the sacraments, who will be the custodian of all of that. I mean, and who would even have the authority if it's not for apostolic succession? Big problem.
In today's debates with contemporary Roman Catholics, even in this country, which tends to be more progressive than in the Latin wing of the Roman Catholic Church, there are those who continuously point out that the Scripture is subordinate to the Church because it's only through the authority of the Church that the Scripture was ever formulated in the first place. It was through church councils in the first 3 centuries that the Church decided which books would belong into the canon of Scripture. And so people argue from that historic process the doctrine that the Scriptures are therefore subordinate to the Church and owe their authority to the primary authority of the Church itself. That despite the fact of history that when the Church went through the process of establishing formally the limits of the canon, they used the word recipimus, which means we receive these books to be sacred Scripture. In other words, the Church was not creating a canon, but simply recognizing the apostolic authority as they saw it, and they were submitting themselves to the authority of sacred Scripture. And today that's been reversed, where people think that in fact the Church at that point in history created the Bible and has the superior authority over the Bible. But there certainly is no dispute that the Rome here states that the Church, it belongs to the Church to interpret the Bible, and anybody that interprets the Bible contrary to how the Church interprets it or how tradition interprets it is under the judgment of the Church here today.